Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're going to be talking about our top albums of 2024. So let's kick it off immediately with our number 5 album of the year, and I'll start by saying that my number 5 album of this year is an album that I am glad got the recognition that it did. Like, this is an album, I think, from a band that works unbelievably hard. They always make amazing stuff. They don't have too much content, but I'm glad to see them finally get their flowers with this album. I think it's a really fun record, very entertaining throughout. It's got some cool creativity in there. Overall, just such a strong release, and I'm glad to see that a lot of people like it as well.
The album I chose for my 5th spot earned one of the very few toe tags that I gave out this year. It's an album with some bangers, and it has a few songs that I just found myself repeatedly going back to throughout the year. So, without further ado, our number 5s. Which one's yours?
You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To by Knocked Loose.
I got The Tide of Death and Fractured Dreams by Ingested.
Ooh, a nice album.
Just to put it out there, we don't know each other's lists, which is why we have to ask, what did you do?
We have to ask just to see.
You guys know before we know.
Basically.
Anyways,
so,
yeah.
Continuing on, let's talk about what your top music video of the year was. And I guess I'll start with that. There were some really good music videos this year. Like, when I was looking back at which, all the videos that were in contention, it got a little tough. But there was one video in particular that I feel like stood out just enough above the rest. It's a video that had so much cool stuff going on. One of the most fun music videos that I've watched. The music was really good as well. My music video of the year, which I guess it's technically 2, is Speed Demon and Straight From The Heart by Dance Gavin Dance. It's nice. 2 songs in one, but that video was incredible. Loved it.
That's a good pick for sure. But yeah, you're right. When it comes to music videos, there was a bunch of really good, interesting videos. The one I picked, I feel like it just was a notch above the rest because it just had cinema quality choreography, just really top-notch editing. And I think you maybe know what I'm going with this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a banger of a song to go with it. My pick was Technium by Fit for a King.
Oh my God.
That video was so good. And we were both floored when we reacted to it.
Absolutely.
And just super, top notch. Just above and beyond.
Yeah, that was basically my runner-up. For me, music video came down to Dance Gavin Dance and Technium because they're both that amazing.
Yeah, super strong video. I loved it.
So let's move on to number 4 album of the year. My number 4 album of 2024 is honestly, looking in hindsight, absolutely not something I would expect to be in a position like this. This is the kind of album that you think, yeah, this is cool, this is fun, but I would not have expected myself to actually put it on a top 5. It's an album that is so fun, and it's an album that I kept thinking about over and over. Ever since I heard it, I was hyped for it when it was coming out during the singles. It came out, I had such a blast with this album. And even now I'm thinking yeah, this is awesome. And it's so straightforward, simple, to the point, no bullshit. So just bang your fucking head, god damn it.
Order of my top 5 kept changing. And this album in number 3 kept jockeying for position, but ultimately this one landed at number 4. It's an album that when I first heard it, I actually really liked it. But then for whatever reason, when I was doing my re-listens, it kind of fell, I kind of forgot about it. But then I started listening to it again, and it just, for some reason, started growing on me. And I started picking out moments, and it really grew on me really fast and really strong. And like you, it's an album that I wasn't really expecting to have in my top 5, but I think it's deserving of this spot at number 4.
So number 4 album of the year is... What do you got?
The Judas Paradox by God Dethroned.
Oh, okay. Oh, that one went by me. Mine is The Exhibition of Prowess by Kublai Khan TX.
Ooh, nice.
Love that album.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some statistics throughout the year, crunching the numbers.
Cool.
So ever since we kind of shifted to the new release format on this channel, we've checked out a lot more albums in general.
Yes.
Overall, there's a lot more albums that get covered on this channel just from their release on top of the reviews.
Right.
So this year we checked out a total of 152 albums, which is quite a lot, especially compared to last year, which was 115.
Wow.
So that's basically about 40 more, which is quite a bit. If you think about 40 albums, that is a lot.
That is.
So as a total of what we reviewed, 27 new releases, which is actually down from last year, which was 32.
Oh.
So kind of a weird, we checked out more albums, but we reviewed less of them.
Yeah, just how the cookie crumbles,
Yeah. And then our average scores, so looking at it, after calculating that, I found something interesting here. So my average of last year was a 7, and my average of this year was a 6.7.
Okay.
And then your average of last year was 6.2, and it went up to a 6.9 this year.
That's interesting.
It
went down, mine went up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually mine is usually above yours, so I found that really odd, but that's just how it be.
Yeah.
So, which band did we cover the most this year? Do you want to take a guess?
I don't.
Okay.
What's the
band that we covered the most this year was Kitty.
Oh, wow.
5 reactions, and we reviewed the new album, Fire.
That's surprising.
I mean, they kept dropping a lot of videos in preparation for it,
They did,
and it was this huge return for the band as well, so just ended up covering them that much.
Cool.
And then as for our most popular video of the year, it is our reaction to Ratatata from Baby Metal and Electric Cowboy.
Okay. Yeah, Baby Metal pulls the views in a lot of
That's-
times.
yeah.
Lots of
Good
Baby
point.
Metal fans out there for sure.
Yeah, that one with over 40,000.
Yeah.
So, pretty good.
Yeah. Another thing we did this year, we started our anniversary series,
Yes.
which
yes.
is we're checking out, bands that are celebrating milestone anniversaries, 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, those type of milestones. And we were able to cover some pretty cool albums this year because of that. We were able to go kind of full circle with Marilyn Manson. We did Portrait of an American Family, and we also covered his newest album, One Assassination Under God, Chapter 1. We celebrated 25 years of Slipknot, which was cool, where we reviewed the self-titled album earlier in the summer.
That was huge.
And, we did a really cool thing where we covered a whole week of black metal. And we covered a bunch of black metal albums that just kind of like cemented the foundation of the genre back in 84, 94, and even 99 with Immortal. Covered lots of black metal. It was tons of fun. But yeah, lots of anniversary albums. And we're going to continue the series too. So look forward to that next year. We're going to be doing more anniversary albums, and it's part of a new series. So keep a watch out for that.
That's going to be a lot of fun. So let's move on to number 3 album of the year. My number 3 album is an album that I was looking forward to before it came out, but I didn't actually listen to much. I think I heard like one single. And then, so I got to sit down with the album just basically blind, and it blew me away. And throughout listening to this album, more and more, I'm thinking, this is just some peak stuff. And what's really funny is that this is not even the best album from this band. Like, I loved it. It's a great, beautiful album. The atmosphere is incredible. When it hits hard, it hits hard. It's just a really pretty sounding album, and it's not even their best. It's that good. The band's just that good.
Of all the albums on my list, this one's probably the most surprising for me. At first, this wasn't really an album that I found had much substance, but I repeatedly found myself going back to it throughout the year. And it was one of those albums where whenever I wasn't sure what to listen to, this was like the safest bet. And I could put it on and really just enjoy it, really vibe with it. And there's something about it that really just connected with me. So yeah, that's it.
So our number 3.
3.
Melodies of Atonement by Leprous.
I got Night Floating by Forgotten Tomb.
Okay, interesting. I thought that was one from like earlier in the year, wasn't it? Or was
It
it?
was like mid-year.
Mid-year?
I think it might have been somewhere in the summer. I can't remember when it came out.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, had it on rotation a lot. It just kept going back to it,
That's understandable.
Yeah.
When there's an album that like you keep coming back to and keep thinking about, that it's worthy of that. That's what Kubla Khan was for me. Like I kept coming back to that. Like, yeah, this is awesome.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's talk about album art.
Okay.
So we usually like to take a look at our 3 best album arts of the year.
Yeah.
And then our 1 worst, right? So as for my best, we talk about how there's 2 like that are strong, and then there's always kind of like a number 1. So it's not necessarily a top 3, it's like a 1 and 2 HMs. So I guess the 2 HMs for me for album art are Eternity Whispers by Oubliette and The Nothing That Is by Fit for an Autopsy.
Okay.
And then my best album art for this year, which it was hard to pick. Like there was a lot of great ones. When I was kind of getting it down to like 10, it was super hard. But my number 1 is The Formless Fires by Kavan.
Ooh.
It's just
that red and black, or no, blue and black.
It's got that blue and black, and then the contrast with that dragon with the red, just so visually striking. I love it.
Nice. That's good. Good choices. My favorite album art of the year, I guess without going into too much detail, Hyperviolence by Wind Waker. Although I didn't like the album at all, the album art is sick. The Temptation of Pain by Salt Wound. I thought it had a cool album art. If you don't know it,
I don't think I know that one.
It's basically got it's like a close up of a mouth, but it's got like spikes through the lips.
Okay.
And I look at it and I'm like, oh, what am I looking at? Like I know what I'm looking at, but what am I really looking at? It's striking. But my favorite album art of the year was Torn from the Jaws of Death by Severe Torture. Yeah. This album art is just sick, and every time I looked at it, I went, holy shit, I love the details. I love how it's painted in layers, and there's so much nuance to the artwork.
The one with the skull and like the spines going all the way up, or is that?
It's just like a profile of the skeleton.
Yeah, and it looks like the spine's going way higher than it normally would.
Yeah, there's like it's humanoid, but there's certain anatomical things that make it look kind of not human, like alien or monstrous or something.
That's a cool.
So at least a mystery to it. This teal background, it's just awesome artwork. I love that one. And worst album art of the year. I don't even like saying worst album of the year because it sucks to shit on things, but some of them deserve it. And I feel like, I don't know if our pick's gonna be the same. If it's not, I'd be surprised. But if it is, whatever. Equals One by Deep Purple. What an absolute shit album art, because basically it's just a white cover with Equals One Deep Purple written on it.
I didn't even think about that one.
Well, that's my worst album art of the year, and I don't think anything could be worse than that.
Well, the one that I picked just pisses me off when I look at it. I just look at this, I'm like, it's Popular Monster by Falling in Reverse. Just a shitty, low-res image of the guy's mugshot. Like, come on. You can do better than that. You can make it, like, visually striking in any way. I look at that and it just pisses me off.
Oh well, it is what it is. On to number 2.
Number 2.
Fear that this band is too new and unknown for many to appreciate, but hopefully the exposure that I give them here is enough for people to, encourages people to check the album out, because I think it just is really good. It scratched an itch for me that a couple other bands that I like failed to do on their latest releases, and this band came through and delivered and scratched that itch for me.
Interesting. My number 2 is from a band that I feel like is really reliable for me. You know, it's a band that I can always come back to and enjoy no matter what, and I feel like this album is kind of a surprise that no one was actually expecting. So then when they dropped this album, everyone thought, what the hell? No way. And then, listening to it, it's just amazing stuff. Like, it's got so much nuance, so much cool stuff. It feels like a blend of things put together. Like, historically from this band, it's a lot of stuff that all kind of comes together to create something new, unique, and just amazing. Like, the whole album is just awesome.
All right, without further ado, our number 2s. Let the Fury Rise by Bloodhorn.
Oh, that's a sick album. Mine is The Last Will and Testament by Opeth.
Nice. All right, so let's talk about Song of the Year.
Oh, okay. Man, that's hard.
So we both make playlists for our favorite songs. I have a playlist. We'll probably link them. I got my top 50 songs of the year. I think you have the top 50 songs as well.
Yep.
And the rules basically is one song per band, right? That's for the playlist. But choosing a song from that playlist is difficult.
And one.
And I narrow it down to about 3 songs, but my top song is one that just kept hitting the right spot. And every time I put it on, I was pumped, and I just couldn't get enough of it. It's got me so hyped. It's Hatred by Paleface Swiss.
Oh, that's just a barn burner of a song.
Barn burner, super banger. It's an awesome, awesome song.
Song of the year for me was quite difficult to choose, especially when I was kind of whittling it down to like the final candidates. But the song that won for me is kind of a song that whenever it comes on, and I said this last year about Wildfire by Periphery, where it's like it comes on and like it's on. You know, here we go. And when I was getting down to like my final like 3 songs of the year, the song that I picked wins. It edged it out for a weird reason. This song is so good, I learned it on drums. Like, I loved the song so much, I learned it. I jammed to it a lot. Amazing song. It is Cure by Era.
Oh, nice.
Ultra banger. Remember when we reacted to the video for that? I'm listening to the song like, whoa, this is a banger.
Gnarly
oh
pick.
my God, so fun to play, so hype. Love the song.
Gnarly. Like that pick. So what do we got next? We got our number one, but before number one, let's do some honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Albums that were really good, but couldn't quite make it in.
Didn't quite make the cut. So we do 3 honorable mentions.
Yep.
So I'll just list mine off. I got Death and Anthology by Enterprise Earth. 4 by Wog. That was really good.
We covered 3 last year.
And Down the Heavens by Disparaged.
That was a good one too. For me, the 3 HMs are Invincible Shield by Judas Priest.
Nice.
Ultra Power by Stryker.
Cool. Yeah, that was good.
And the Nothing That Is by Fit for an Autopsy.
Oh, really good too. Nice.
All 3 of them good. That Stryker album for sure, not one that I think many people really checked out. They're not like that most well known, but man, is that album killing. Holy moly, so fun.
So, we're getting down to it. It's time to talk about our number 1 albums of 2024.
Number 1. What was your number 1?
So my number 1. It's really crazy to say this, but there really only was one album all year long that I enjoyed every single time I put it on. And I looked forward to every single time I put it on. And discovered something new every single time I put it on. Out of the 152 albums we covered, this was the one. So I kind of knew this was going to be my number 1 album for quite a long time. This album's got great vocal performance. It's got some of the best guitaring of the year and some of the catchiest, just awesome, great songwriting, cover to cover. Love this album.
I feel a little bit similar about my number 1. This is an album that every time I'd consider this album or put it on, I'd be reminded as to how amazing it is. And it's got phenomenal performances, but I feel like, especially with this album, it takes a stagnant genre and put so much life and creativity and interesting things into it. And it's not just like they kind of put it with this. Like, the album does a million different things with it. Every song has a different vibe, even though it all feels like a complete package. It's just a mind blower of an album. Every single time, multiple songs from this album could have been in my Song of the Year playlist. I could only choose one for that playlist. But just the whole album's incredible. And honestly, throughout the whole year, this is the one I was always kind of thinking, I think that's the one. And it was always there, and it stays here as my number 1. So our number 1 album of the year. I can't even
The Order of Fear by Orden Ogan.
Oh, interesting. Mine is Death, an Anthology by Enterprise.
Nice.
Interesting. That's a bit of a shocker there as your number 1.
It wasn't to me, because it just kind of gripped me by the horns right at the beginning, and it just, every time I put it on, I was like, yeah, this is top contender. Yeah, this is top contender. Every time I put it on, for re-listens, I'm like, yeah, this is still at the top.
Yeah, and I know, like, at least, from my recollection, like, the biggest highlight was Moonfire from that album, which is...
It was to start off with, because the solo in that song is just amazing.
The solo in that song.
But I got a couple other favorites since then. My favorite track has shifted a few times, and right now it's Blind Man. I think that's such a sick song.
That's fair.
So good. But yeah, awesome album, man, and check out all these albums we mentioned, because you guys are missing out if you're not listening to these, and those are our top 5s and our HMs. But 2024 is over. 2025 is around the corner. What are you looking forward to?
Well, see, one album is kind of hard to mention because it's just about to come out, and that is Cursed by Paleface Swiss.
Paleface Swiss.
Literally just, it drops January 3rd. Yeah. So it's hard to say, I'm looking forward to it. It's like, yeah, it's right over there.
Still looking forward to it.
Still looking forward to it. I did mention last year I was looking forward to Dream Theater. I still am. Parasomnia is the name. It's coming out in February. I'm excited for that. But I'm also excited for Duel by Ginger, which is coming out the same day because the singles have been really good. I'm really excited. I know the last Ginger album was like fine, but didn't really scratch that itch. But I think there's parts of the new album, some songs that they've dropped so far that are scratching the Ginger itch again. So I'm excited.
I'd say my number 1 is obviously Paleface Swiss as well. But like T-Fish said, it's right around the corner, so we don't have to wait too long. I also second the Ginger thing. I wasn't feeling the first couple singles, but the last one, Green Serpent, what an amazing song that is. That totally put me back on the hype train. And another one I'm looking forward to is Obscura. I'm curious to see what those guys can do, and they dropped a single we reacted to about a month or so ago, and it was really good.
Reminding everybody, like, hey, we're still that band.
Yeah, we're still doing that. So some good stuff. And, there's a few more things lined up for the first few months of 2025. And yeah, it's shaping up. I think it's going to be a pretty good year to start off.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, guys, that is all we got for this year. Let us know your top fives, your HMs, track of the year, anything you'd like from 2024 in the comments below, and what you're looking forward to in 2025. Anniversary reviews possibly, or just what albums are you really, really hoping for? And that is all we got for you guys this year. Remember to subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
And keep the horns up.